Tech and clips.
Yeah. All right, guys. Freddie Mercury names the 5 musicians he hates most. Yes, this is a video from this channel, Offstage Tales. Yes, let's take a. We're about to watch it, and I'll definitely give my thoughts, about this video. Let's go.
Can you tell us what Queen is all about?
It's basically a rock and roll band with lots of harmonies, lots of everything.
When people think of Freddie Mercury, they think of an unstoppable force of nature.
That's true. Yeah.
The flamboyant showman, the 4-octave voice, the songwriter who could blend opera with hard rock. But behind Queen's massive success was a man with strong opinions and even stronger standards.
Okay.
Doing things half-heartedly is a complete waste of time, Mercury once stated, and this perfectionism didn't just apply to his own work. While many rock legends present a diplomatic public image, Mercury's candid nature meant he rarely filtered his thoughts about his contemporaries.
Yeah.
From punk icons to fellow stadium fillers, Mercury's sharp tongue left few unscathed. His former personal assistant, Peter Freestone, recalled, Freddie could be absolutely brutal in his assessment of others. If he thought someone wasn't giving their all, he wouldn't hesitate to say it.
Yeah.
From legendary backstage confrontations to studio sessions that dissolved into chaos, Mercury's relationships with other rock stars reveal a side of him that casual fans rarely glimpse.
Okay.
His feuds weren't just about personal differences. They were clashes of artistic vision, struggles for creative control, and fundamental disagreements about what rock music should be. Today, we're diving into the 5 musicians that Freddie Mercury couldn't stand.
Okay.
And why even some of rock's biggest icons found themselves on the receiving end of the Queen frontman's legendary temper. Sid Vicious. The confrontation between Freddie Mercury and Sex Pistols bassist Sid Vicious has become the stuff of rock legend. It happened in 1977 at Wessex Studios in London, where Queen was recording their News of the World album while the Sex Pistols worked on Nevermind the Bollocks nearby. The punk movement was in full swing, directly challenging the elaborate productions of bands like Queen. According to Queen guitarist Brian May, Vicious stumbled into their studio sneering, "Still bringing ballet to the masses, Fred?"
Sid Vicious.
The question dripped with contempt for Queen's theatrical approach to rock. But Mercury, never one to back down, reportedly fired back, "Oh yes, Mr. Ferocious, we're trying our best, dear." What made this exchange more than just a passing moment was how it crystallized the fundamental divide between Mercury's musical philosophy and the punk ethos.
Okay.
While the Sex Pistols championed a stripped-down, anarchic approach that prioritized attitude over technical skill, Mercury remained unapologetic about Queen's musical complexity and showmanship.
Okay.
"I despise simplicity in music," Mercury later remarked in a 1982 interview with Melody Maker.
Anymore. There was a time where in the early days where our music was very pompous and very serious, and people thought, oh God, what a load of bores,
Why throw away years of learning your craft? Some people think it's clever to only know 3 chords. I think it's cleverer to learn all of them. He didn't mention Vicious by name, but the target of his criticism was unmistakable. Mercury's disdain went beyond musical differences. He viewed punk's rejection of musicianship as a threat to everything he valued about rock performance. Sometimes when I watch certain bands, I think, for God's sake, anyone can go out there and be a rock star.
Okay.
But can anyone deliver? That's what separates the men from the boys, he said. The irony was that both Mercury and the Sex Pistols were, in their own ways, challenging rock conventions. But while punk sought to tear down the excesses of 70s rock, Mercury believed in boundaries through greater sophistication and theatrical scale.
Okay.
Elton John
John?
few would expect Freddie Mercury and Elton John to be anything but the best of friends.
Whoa.
Both were flamboyant, piano-playing frontmen who dominated 70s rock charts with theatrical performances and elaborate costumes. But beneath their public displays of camaraderie lay a competitive rivalry that occasionally erupted into periods of icy silence and biting criticism. Their relationship was complex from the start. "Darling, we're like sisters," Mercury once joked to the press about Elton. "And you know how sisters can be." This seemingly affectionate comment hinted at the underlying tension that would characterize their bond for decades. By the early 1980s, as Queen's experimental disco influences on Hot Space divided fans, Mercury reportedly took issue with Elton's commercial direction.
Whoa.
According to Queen producer Reinhold Mack, Mercury was particularly scathing about Elton's string of radio-friendly hits like Little Genie and Blue Eyes. Freddie would listen to Elton's latest and just roll his eyes, Mack recalled. He'd say, "Another tame piano ballad for the masses? Where's the man who gave us Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting? He's become a jukebox for middle-aged housewives." The comment stung because it targeted Elton's greatest insecurity, the fear of losing his edge as an artist. While Mercury continued to push boundaries with Queen, Elton was struggling with substance abuse issues that affected his creative output. Mercury, who prided himself on maintaining control despite his own party lifestyle, had little patience for what he saw as Elton squandering his talents.
Okay.
Their friendship hit its lowest point in 1985 after Live Aid. While both delivered historic performances, the media's tendency to pit them against each other intensified their rivalry. When asked about Elton's set, Mercury reportedly quipped, "Elton played the hits as always. Safe choice. I prefer to take risks." Elton, hurt by the dismissal of his performance, retaliated by criticizing Queen's decision to play in Sun City, South Africa.
It's really nice to be here in South Africa, and I just want to have a good time.
Despite the cultural boycott against apartheid, Mercury was furious at what he saw as Elton's self-righteous posturing.
Wow.
"He called me a hypocrite," Elton later admitted, and he wasn't entirely wrong. David Bowie. The collaboration that produced Under Pressure, one of rock's most celebrated duets, nearly didn't survive the explosive personalities of its creators. David Bowie and Freddie Mercury's 1981 studio sessions revealed a clash of titans that music journalist David Ambrose described as two alpha wolves circling each other, neither willing to concede an inch of territory. While the finished track became an enduring classic, those present during its creation witnessed Mercury's frustration with Bowie's approach reach boiling point. Queen bassist John Deacon later revealed, "There were moments when Freddie was ready to throw David out of the studio altogether. Their creative processes were just completely at odds." The tension stemmed from fundamentally different working methods. Mercury was meticulous and structured, often arriving with fully formed ideas. Bowie preferred spontaneity and improvisation, sometimes scrapping hours of work to pursue a new direction. According to Queen's producer David Bowie, Mercury found this approach maddening. "I've never met anyone so bloody difficult," Mercury reportedly fumed after one particularly contentious session. "David thinks changing his mind every 5 minutes is artistic. I call it wasting everyone's time. He'd rather chase some abstract concept down a rabbit hole than finish what we started." Mercury's irritation extended beyond the studio. At a dinner following a recording session, Mercury allegedly became incensed when Bowie dominated the conversation with his interest in mysticism and alternative lifestyles. "For God's sake," Mercury later told his personal assistant Peter Freestone, "if I hear one more word about Tibet or vegetarianism, I'll strangle him with his own scarf."
One night we were having dinner, and after that we were going back into the studio to carry on with the session.
Just because he's reinvented himself as some spiritual guru doesn't mean the rest of us need the lecture. What particularly irked Mercury was Bowie's transformation from the glam rock of Ziggy Stardust to his more austere Berlin period. Mercury, who embraced theatrical excess wholeheartedly, viewed Bowie's shift as pretentious. "He's turned his back on everything that made him interesting," Mercury commented to Rolling Stone, though the quote was never published during his lifetime. "Now he acts like wearing makeup and putting on a show is beneath him. If that's true, why does he keep calling me to collaborate?" Rod Stewart. The Abandoned Torch album stands as one of rock's most tantalizing what-ifs, a collaboration between two of rock's most distinctive vocalists that imploded before it truly began. In 1982, during a chance meeting in Munich, Mercury and Stewart hatched plans for a joint project that would showcase their vocal harmonies and contrasting styles. But within weeks, the collaboration dissolved into mutual recrimination. "Rod couldn't commit to anything," Mercury later complained to close friend Mary Austin. We'd set studio time, and he'd cancel because he was playing bloody football or chasing some model.
Whoa.
I don't have time for amateurs, darling, even if they've sold millions. The criticism cut deep because it targeted Stewart's well-known reputation for putting pleasure before business. While Mercury was famously hedonistic in his private life, he maintained iron discipline when it came to his music. Stewart's more casual approach to recording infuriated the Queen frontman, who once reportedly stormed out of a session after Stewart arrived 3 hours late and unprepared. Queen's manager Jim Beach later revealed that Mercury had particularly harsh words about Stewart's voice. Freddie said to me, "Jim, darling, Rod's rasp worked wonderfully when he was telling stories about street life with the Faces, but he's still growling away while singing about yachts and blondes. It's become a parody." The critique highlighted Mercury's frustration with what he saw as Stewart's failure to evolve artistically. While Mercury constantly pushed to expand Queen's sound, he viewed Stewart's 80s output as a retreat into safe commercial territory. Their competitive nature further complicated matters. Both men had built their reputations as showmen who could command massive audiences. During one heated argument over the album's direction, Mercury allegedly declared, "There's only room for one peacock on this record, and we both know who has the better plumage." Michael Jackson.
Whoa.
The king of pop and Queen's frontman seemed destined to collaborate. Both were transformative performers who redefined stage presence and pushed musical boundaries. Their initial recording sessions in 1983 sparked what should have been a historic partnership, but instead led to one of the music industry's most mysterious fallouts. The trouble began when Mercury visited Jackson's Encino home studio to work on their planned 3-song collaboration. While There Must Be More to Life Than This, State of Shock, and Victory were all in various stages of completion, the atmosphere quickly soured. According to Queen manager Jim Beach, Mercury called him after the 3rd session, sounding uncharacteristically agitated. "I can't work with him," Mercury reportedly fumed. "The man's gone mad. He sits there with that bloody chimp making me wait hours while he talks to mannequins. I'm not dealing with this level of madness, even for a #1 record."
Does it? So I said, fine, you know. Songs are songs. I mean, as long as our friendship carries on, we can...
Mercury's frustration wasn't just about Jackson's eccentricities. He found Jackson's perfectionism exhausting, ironic, given Mercury's own exacting standards. Queen drummer Roger Taylor later revealed, Freddie came back from the Jackson sessions complaining that Michael wanted to redo vocal takes 40, 50 times.
Whoa.
Even Freddie thought this was excessive, and that's saying something. But what truly drove Mercury away was what he perceived as Jackson's increasingly calculated image. "Michael's not making music anymore. He's manufacturing product," Mercury told music journalist David Wigg in an unpublished interview.
Okay.
"Everything is focus grouped to death. Where's the spontaneity? Where's the soul?" Mercury was particularly dismissive of Jackson's attempt to craft a sanitized public persona.
Wow.
"He wants to be Peter Pan, the eternal innocent," Mercury reportedly told his inner circle. "It's all so contrived. At least I've never pretended to be something I'm not." The cultural differences between them became insurmountable when Jackson, a devout Jehovah's Witness at the time, allegedly expressed discomfort with Mercury's lifestyle. According to Queen producer Reinhold Mack, Freddie came back livid after Michael tried to save him during a session. He told Michael, "Darling, I've got more heaven and hell in my little finger than you'll experience in your entire lifetime." None of their collaborations were released during Mercury's lifetime. There Must Be More to Life Than This finally appeared on Queen's posthumous Made in Heaven album in 1995, with Jackson's contributions removed. State of Shock was eventually recorded with Mick Jagger instead.
Okay.
Perhaps most telling was Mercury's response when asked about Jackson in a 1987 interview. "Very talented boy. Shame about everything else."
3 tracks, that's about a year ago, and they haven't been finished. And since then, Michael Jackson's gone, wow. And
In those 6 words, he summed up his complex feelings about an artist he respected musically, but couldn't connect with personally. What do you think about Freddie Mercury's feuds with these legendary rock stars? Was he justified in his criticisms, or was the Queen frontman too demanding of his peers? Leave us your thoughts in the comments section below. We hope you enjoyed this peek behind the curtain of rock history. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more videos exploring the untold stories of music's biggest icons. Thanks for watching.
All right, guys. So first off, shout outs to Offstage Tales, the channel responsible for this video. So first off, I have to say right off the bat, it's fascinating that someone, as iconic and flamboyant as Freddie Mercury, had some strong opinions, about other big names, in the industry. For example, his apparent dislike, for big names, Rod Stewart, Elton John, Michael Jackson. Like it's crazy. I thought they were the ones ruling the music industry at the time. So it's so surprising to watch this video and to realize that he actually hated them. I feel like hating someone is a strong emotion. On the flip side, it's pretty wild to hear that some musicians weren't fans of Freddie Mercury himself. Sid Vicious from Sex Pistols, calling him revolting is pretty harsh. But also kind of in line with the punk's whole rebellious attitude against the glam rock scene. Yeah, that's something I didn't expect. It really highlight how music taste and attitude can be polarizing. Even amongst artists. Yeah. I was surprised, to find out the names that were dropped, in this video. Yeah, but I have to say overall, it's a reminder that even legends like Freddie Mercury, and had their preferences, their critics and their beefs. It makes the music scene feel more real and human. No matter how iconic or beloved an artist is, not everyone will agree. And honestly, that's what keeps music diverse and interesting. So let me know your thoughts, let me know your perspective, let me know what you think about the names that were dropped in this video. Yes, and let me know if you want me to continue checking out more videos such as this one on the channel. I'll be so glad to watch these videos with you guys and give my thoughts. So yeah, if you enjoyed this peek behind the scenes of Freddie Mercury's world and his opinions, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, let me know in the comments, which musicians do you think had the most interesting beef, with Freddie, or who surprised you the most on this list? Can't wait to hear from you guys. Until the next reaction, take care, stay safe, peace out.